today's new look SF Scene, we take a stroll through the doors of Landmark Entertainment, the company that brings you the world's most exciting movie rides. Also, the dinos are back, if you didn't know, along with Jeff Goldblum and new co-star Julianne Moore. We get lost in the lost world. And finally, have you ever wondered what life is really like on board the USS Voyager? We find out from actor Robert Beltran. Welcome to the show that, like a black hole, drags in everything that's good from the world of sci-fi. Coming up today, we give you the opportunity to win all kinds of computer games. There's our regular weekly sci-fi update and our razor-sharp reviewers. But first, Mike Jerek checks out state-of-the-art theme park technology with Landmark Entertainment.
The most advanced flying machines in the world today.
You probably don't know them by name, but Landmark Entertainment Group is currently the hottest theme park and attractions design firm around. In the last year or so, they've given us Jurassic Park The Ride at Universal Studios Hollywood and T2 3D at Universal Studios Florida. Landmark's next big splash will be Star Trek The Experience at the Las Vegas Hilton. The curtain goes up on this $50 million interactive encounter this summer. To find out why Landmark has rocketed to the forefront of the themed attractions business, I buzzed over to their headquarters in North Hollywood and grilled their chairman and CEO, Gary Goddard. With a background as a producer, writer, and director, he founded the company in 1980.
There is a lot of competition out there in your industry. What sets your company, Landmark, apart from all the others?
Everything we do, we think as a director thinks. We put the thing together the way you would a show, the way you would a film. That's how we think of things. And everyone else, see, they design buildings. They go, we're going to do this building and we're going to stick this show in here. You know, like, what's the show? And what we say is, this is the show. We're going to do this show, so based on this show, this is the building we want to build around it.
Get down!
Landmark is known for their expert ability at adapting classic film properties into theme park attractions. They've also earned a reputation for pushing the limits of technology and creativity. For T2 3D, they enlisted the help of director James Cameron and his special effects firm, Digital Domain. Using computer-generated imagery, Digital Domain created the first all-digital live-action film for the show's spectacular finale.
What the guys at Digital Domain did in terms of CGI on 3 screens was definitely hadn't been done before. No one had ever done 3D at that level, and no one had ever done 3-screen 3D digitally like that just, you know, wrapped around you. And no one had ever put 3D film with live actors going in and out of the screens.
One of the secrets to Landmark's magic is they take into consideration the audience's experience with theme park attractions. With a ride like Jurassic Park, the designers play on the audience's expectations.
We knew that our jaded audiences were going to think, oh, we're going to go through the waterfall, and the waterfall's going to part, and we're not going to get wet, and then we're going to go down. But what they didn't suspect is that the T-Rex is going to come charging through the waterfall at 30 miles an hour. See, that was the surprise there. You can take your picture up through here, and you'll catch the Enterprises and the Klingon ships.
Will it be these colors? Landmark is taking the same sneaky approach with Star Trek The Experience. The attraction will start out in a ho-hum manner in order to lull the participants into a false sense of security.
And about the time that all of you guys will be thinking, this is it, you know, this is, I paid for this, and it's like this, suddenly the room starts to hum, and lights, there's like a power shortage, something's happening, and suddenly the room is energized. You are bathed in white light, there's the sound of the beam up, there's some kind of Klingon transmissions going through, and suddenly everything changes, and in 3.5 seconds you're beamed up.
Suffice it to say that once you're aboard the Enterprise, all hell breaks loose. And if their past success repeats itself, Landmark Entertainment's newest extravaganza will be yet another landmark in the history of themed attractions.
Let's be absolutely honest. You have to have lived on another planet for the last 6 months to have missed the publicity surrounding Jurassic Park 2, The Lost World. I personally have 2 friends who've done just that, and even they know it's on at our cinemas right now. But that doesn't stop us. We got our roving reporter, the man with the tan, Mike Jerrick, to go behind the scenes and give you the Sci-Fi Scene Lost World lowdown.
How The Lost World stacks up against Jurassic Park will soon become a matter of public debate. But probably everyone who has seen both films will agree on one point. The effects in The Lost World are bigger and better than in the first picture. There's a whole lot more dinos in the new film, and a greater variety of them. Compliments of effects maestros Dennis Murin, Stan Winston, and Michael Lantieri. As in Jurassic Park, the Leviathan lizards come to life through a combination of computer-generated imagery, puppetry, and animatronics. But since there are more robotic effects in The Lost World, the dinosaurs interact more directly with the human cast than in Jurassic Park. Recently, I dropped by the set of The Lost World to ask the film's stars what it was like to work with their reptilian co-stars.
Well, it's different, you know, with one, the computer stuff they're going to put in later, there's nothing there, and so you've got to figure out what's going to be there and how to, you know, do it. In this set, on this set, remember in the gas station, there's this dinosaur that chases me, and I'd take this door off its hinges, and that was all computer-generated stuff, so I had to put it in front of me, and then later the dinosaur jumps on the thing and smashes it into me. So on the set, all I was doing was taking the door off, and with nothing there, smashing it into myself over and over again. But with Stan Winston's brilliant models, it's another story entirely. The whole technology has leaped, he made it leap forward, I think, and for all the world, these things look real, and they're just amazing. You're interacting with them. I had this, you know, baby dinosaur that has no wires attached to it, nothing, and it's alive.
What the hell was that?
Go as fast as you can. There are different dinosaurs in this, and the dinosaurs they have in this, I think, will be even a little more sophisticated. I think it'll be something you have to see.
If you wanted to rescue me from something, why didn't you bail me out of that fundraiser at the museum 3 weeks ago like you said you would?
There's a slightly different situation.
Or why not rescue me from that dinner with your parents that you never showed up for? Why not rescue me when I really need it? Actually be there when you say you will. You know, I have made a career out of waiting for you.
You know, Sarah has a pretty good...
It's so important to your future that you not finish that sentence, please. It's privacy, outside.
Ian, you guys should definitely go. But I'm going to stay. I love you. I just don't need you right now.
Do you see the puppeteers around you? I mean, are they... You
They stay out of sight. I mean, basically, everybody's working really hard to suspend your disbelief. The puppeteers are kind of wonderful because they'd usually be way out of shot with their, you know, with the remotes and stuff. Yeah. Or they would lie down. If there's something they had to operate, they would kind of lie down out of the way. And upon occasion, I think there was actually one puppeteer inside a suit once who was playing a baby Triceratops, I think, and I don't know how he did it in there because it looked really tough.
I found that getting technical answers about filmmaking from actor Vince Vaughn was harder than pulling teeth from a T-Rex. What are you looking at when everybody in the movie always has to go?
Some of it's robots, and some of it is computer animated stuff later. But I just want to say that Jeff Goldblum is so fun in this film. It's so much fun to work with. I gotta tell you something. I think this film is red hot.
Wait a minute, I'm not even asking these questions yet. You're a robot.
No, this film is red hot. This film is red hot. This film is R-E-D-H-O-T. Once you start, you can't stop. It's red hot.
A roller coaster ride? Is that what you're saying?
No, it's more like a dunking tank.
Hang on. They're pushing us over the cliff.
Stop it! Hang on to something!
Thanks, Mike. Nice new shorts you got there. Still to come, we check out one of the bright new stars of Star Trek. Try saying that with your teeth out.
SFC continues after the break.
With this week's reviewers and find out what they think of what you're thinking of buying.
Psychic investigator? That fellow takes us totally for granted.
Frighteners stars Michael J. Fox as Frank Bannister, a psychic detective who really can see ghosts, but he uses his power to defraud people out of money.
He's only a fraud in as much as he uses his ghostly colleagues to set up haunting situations which he can then dash to the rescue on.
He finds himself, though, in a real case of hunting down a serial killer who's died or was executed years before, and Frank Bannister has to stop him.
The wonderful thing about the film is that the story just keeps going. It keeps getting more and more complicated, more and more interesting, and more exciting things keep being revealed, and the whole fun of the movie is to keep finding out those things.
I give Frighteners 8 Saturns out of 10.
I can't recommend The Frighteners highly enough. I was going to give it just 9 Saturns out of 10, but I give The Frighteners 10 Saturns out of 10.
X-Files Internal Affairs is an X-Files graphic novel. It's actually a collection of 4 X-Files comic strips.
I would say that the 4 stories in this graphic novel are all fairly similar, with the possible exception of the last one, which is to do with alien implants in a guy's head and gets a bit gory at the end when he tries to get them out with a knife and a thing that goes up his nose.
Unfortunately, a lot of the storytelling in all 4 of the stories is a little bit shallow.
The problem with the comic strip is that it highlights some of the failings of the X-Files series, which the X-Files TV series gets over with the use of music and moody lighting and the way the stars talk in their idiosyncratic ways.
Some of the artwork isn't that great, particularly in the first 2 stories, where Scully and Mulder both look a bit like dolls.
Sometimes there's an annoying tendency for there to be a huge black shadow from about here downwards and just a little bit of nose showing, and no apparent reason for that happening.
I gave X-Files Internal Affairs 5 Saturns out of 10.
The X-Files Internal Affairs is good for X-Files fans, but it's not going to catch casual comic viewers. So I'd give X-Files Internal Affairs 6 Saturns out of 10.
Stop, human dog. Prepare to die.
You can be assured that I would never have touched this with a 10-foot barge pole if I had not felt that it was going to be true to the original series that we had worked on, true to the fundamentals of what Star Trek represents, and of the very highest quality.
Star Trek Generations is a computer game for the PC and is based around Star Trek Generations, the film.
You play the game in 2 ways. One, you're in stellar cartography, which is a great big room with a huge star map that shows you whereabouts in the universe the Starship Enterprise is. And then, when you find out where you're going to, you beam down to various planets or space stations, basically to pursue Dr. Soren, who you may remember from the film was trying to blow up suns in order to get back into the Nexus.
The nice thing about this is that it actually employs all of the original Next Generation cast to do the voices, which greatly enhances the feel of it being genuine Star Trek.
This fusion reactor seems to be in working order.
When you beam down to the planet, it becomes a game a little bit like Doom, which is, you've got a gun in front of you and you're walking around and looking for the bad guys and you shoot them and you discover things.
It's a little bit linear in nature. You are forced along a path that the computer game wants you to go.
Sometimes you feel you're just onto something and someone comes over the radio and says, "We're beaming you back up to the Enterprise." And you think, oh, well, what a shame. Anyway, it's a lot of fun and I'd certainly like to have a go at it again.
Wow, this is Lursa and Betor shit.
I give Star Trek Generations 7 Saturns out of 10.
I give Star Trek Generations 7 Saturns out of 10.
Now Now we join our man Mike Jarek, who's been beamed aboard the USS Voyager to have a cosy little chat with Commander Chakotay, otherwise known as actor Robert Beltran.
That moment we spoke about, it's here. Any thoughts?
Just one. Flying into that corridor would mean certain death.
Agreed.
Robert Beltran is an Hispanic actor who plays the fearless Native American first officer Chakotay on Star Trek Voyager. Despite being part of a 30-year-old sci-fi franchise, Beltran confesses that before landing on Star Trek, he didn't watch sci-fi on television.
One of the reasons why I probably never watched science fiction is that, if you know, the little bit that I watched, I would assume that our race was extinct by the 23rd century, or whenever. So, you know, it was sort of invisible. We didn't exist in that world that they created.
Beltran is a classically trained actor who has appeared in numerous English and Spanish language stage productions. He also appeared in the cult film classic Eating Raoul as the tasty title character, no less.
They're everywhere. They're even decrypting our access codes.
Now this quick-witted actor seems to be enjoying his place in the fan-obsessed world of Star Trek.
I go to conventions and I see this tattoo on old and young alike.
How does that make you feel?
Like an idiot. I feel like I'm contributing to the dumbing down of the United States, but
you really don't feel that way.
No, not at all. It's flattering. You know, I'm glad that they watch the show first of all, and that they like the Chakotay character, or maybe they just like his tattoo. Either way, I'll take it.
Are you finding that you have a lot of female fans? No, I would think maybe 80% female.
I think it's half and half. I mean, there's a lot of young men that write. I think the show is very popular with, teenagers. But okay, yeah, there's a lot of, I get it's female. I guess you could say it's 51 to 49%. Yeah.
There are going to be some changes around here. All of the Maquis are in line, and about 25 of the Starfleet crew are with us.
Are you saying there's going to be a mutiny?
And when the shooting starts, I'm going to need to know which side you're on.
Do you enjoy going to the Star Trek conventions?
You have adoring fans that are, willing to lay their life on the line for you for that hour or 2 hours or whatever you're...
Were you ever that way about anything in your life?
Just sports. I wouldn't go to a Star Trek convention because I'm not that big on sci-fi.
You're not?
No.
You don't feel bad?
I love our show, don't get me wrong. Our show, I love.
Coming up next, all the news you need to know in SF Scene Update, and we'll be giving you the opportunity to win one of 10 computer games, so get your pen and paper ready.
SF Scene continues after the break.
Encounter.
Welcome to SF Scene Update, all the news you need in the world of sci-fi. This is Caroline Tudor. Having grossed more than $170 million already in the States, Men in Black, the intergalactic action-adventure, finally arrives in UK cinemas on August the 1st. Doctor Who, The Happiness Patrol, starring Sylvester McCoy, has a retail video release from August the 4th. Available in the shops from today is Great Movie Themes in Science Fiction, a compilation which includes famous themes from the Star Wars trilogy, Star Trek and Terminator 2, along with great movie themes in horror and thriller. Steve Perry's novel Men in Black is published on July the 31st to tie with the film's release. On sale from August the 7th are Infinity's Shore, Book 2 of the second Uplift trilogy by David Brin, as well as his collection of short stories, The River of Time. Ghost in the Shell, the graphic novel based on the animated feature, is available in the UK from August the 8th, together with Melanie Rawn's The Mage-Born Traitor, the second volume in the Exiles trilogy. Premiering on the Sci-Fi Channel on August the 6th, Conan the Destroyer features Arnold Schwarzenegger and Grace Jones on a journey through strange and magnificent worlds. For more news in the world of sci-fi, tune in to us next week or access the SF Scene Dominion website or Dominion Teletext page 225 24 hours a day. Finally, one of the year's most controversial sci-fi books has just hit the bookshops. Gods of the New Millennium offers scientific proof of flesh and blood gods and their imminent return to our world. Author Alan Alford told us where he's coming from.
Throughout the world, there are legends, consistent legends of how so-called gods either came down from the skies or arrived by sea and gave the gifts of science and civilization to the people. Now, we've been told that these stories are myth, that there's no truth in them whatsoever. But over the last few years, more and more evidence has started to appear to suggest that there was indeed a race of highly advanced people who walked the face of the earth millennia, many thousands of years before civilization began. When we actually look at the evidence which we now have of human origins, we find something incredibly strange really did happen 200,000 years ago, which is that the ape man, Homo erectus, very suddenly became the wise man, Homo sapiens, that's us. And virtually overnight, in the evolutionary scheme of things, we acquired a brain which was 50% bigger than the previous brain. We also acquired a language capability and a modern anatomy all at the same time. Now, the Darwinists actually agree that that is highly improbable. These huge leaps, which they call macromutations, each of them is statistically highly improbable. And when you put all three together, it's as near to impossible as you can get. We are the biggest mystery of all, where we came from. But there are also mysteries such as Stonehenge, the Nazca Lines, the pyramids, which have been unsolved for 50 or 60 years. And scientific study has got nowhere in explaining them. And what that tells me is we've been using the wrong paradigm to study them.
Well, it's competition time again, and we've got 10 copies of XCOM Apocalypse to give away. All you've got to do is answer this simple and highly topical question. Which sci-fi aficionado wrote both Jurassic Park and The Lost World? If you think you know the answer, put it on a postcard and send it with your name and address to Lost World Competition, Sci-Fi Channel, PO Box 2360, London W1A 2PY. That's it for this week's Cosmic Kaleidoscope of Sci-Fi.
He's always crazy. Why don't you get a massage? Take a cruise up the street.
Drop the weapon and put your hands on your head.
I warned it.
Drop the weapon!
You warned it. Don't make me kill you.
Next week we get into stride with the summer blockbuster that really delivers its hype, The Men in Black. And we go where no woman has gone before to discover the world of the writer on Star Trek Voyager. And we show you exclusive footage on the much anticipated British sci-fi blockbuster Event Horizon. That's it for this week, but remember, fact is shorter than fiction. Beam me up, Deirdre.
Destroy.